And girlfriends, last week you were complaining about the
camel.
Yes, so a gentleman sent me a video. I couldn't believe how dirty the place was.
This is the ICGC place.
It's terrible.
By the roadside, though.
Yeah. Are they rearing them for a specific occasion?
No, that's where they keep them.
Horses and camels.
Yes, horses, camels, cows.
Wow.
And it's not just there. Like I was telling you the other time, if you go to the Kokumpe area, it's basically mechanics and cows.
Oh, what are cows doing with vehicles?
That's what it is. It's okay. Let me make it three things. It's mechanics and car parts, cows and plastics.
Oh Lord.
There's a part of the Kokompe area when you drive after the Gulf filling station at on that road. When you make a right on the Gulf filling station, you go up. You are driving basically through almost a kilometer of plastics.
What kind of plastics? As in plastic waste.
Yes, collected plastic waste.
What are they using it for?
They are processing it. They are doing all kinds of things. So they break it down with hammers.
Wow.
They tie them up in sacks.
And they are rearing
cattle everywhere.
Next to that.
Yes, and then you also have the FITEM, the mechanics also operating in there. So it's a nightmare. It's a nightmare.
Maybe Ghanaians enjoy chaos.
Yeah.
Maybe that's how the people are. Maybe they like it.
So we enjoy moving through
maybe
all that
because the
chaos.
assembly may not even see it as a problem. You know, you see it as a problem. Maybe they don't see that. It's not a problem for them.
So if the assemblyman is the MC or DC is driving through town, and then he sees the cattle and the camel, then he will wave.
Maybe it's business.
Like
People are doing business.
Yeah, but I think generally the people who run our towns, districts, either there's just a bit too much weighing to the side of livelihood.
Allow people to make money.
Yes.
At the expense of law and order.
At the expense of everything else. So we basically have a mixed setup. So everybody can set up a container, which is why when the annual Congress of the Ghana Institute of Architects was held, and I am surprised that the local government ministry especially should have called every municipal boss based on just that statistic alone, that 20% of all structures in the country are containers and kiosks.
If you even make it urban, it's probably 40%.
Yes.
Because if you take the whole country and it's 20%, then you take Accra, I'm sure it's like 60%.
As soon as the local government ministry heard that statistic, they should have convened an emergency meeting to say why. How are we going to reduce that number?
Maybe they've accepted that that's the new reality. That if 20% of your structures are containers, then just legitimize it.
Yeah.
you can't. It's become an unsolvable problem.
No, but you see, the thing is this, Bernard. We are supposed to be able to figure out, okay, this is a market. This is where I go for the market. This is where I go to play. This is where I go to church. This is where I go to relax.
Yeah.
But we have put all of it
in the same place.
In the same place.
So you go to
the point where
you go to church there. There's a club next to it.
Yeah.
If you are lucky, there's even a brothel not too far.
Yeah,
away.
like me.
All in the same enclave. So it's like
yeah, but kids can't even play anymore in neighborhoods
at all.
Because so for instance, again I'll use where I grew up. I grew up Dansoman Exhibition.
Yeah.
I lived next door to the great Ikoti Senior.
Okay.
Yes, he was my next door neighbor. He had a cabbage patch
in front of his house.
In front of his house. We used to go there. He was a chef at Golden Tulip and then at Shangri-La.
Okay.
So the man could cook.
So when you go and he's cooking,
you know, yeah, he goes to his garden,
harvests his
cabbage and everything. He brings it to his house. Where his cabbage patch used to be is a carpentry shop now.
Okay.
The house that he lived in for so many years is where the church now is.
The church has taken over.
Yes, there's a church in that house.
Next to your house.
Yes, there's a church in that house. There's a chop bar there. There is
in the church or chop bar in the same enclave.
The same enclave.
So chop bar.
Yes.
There's
a weld
carpentry shop and they all start with C.
There's a weld.
Obviously somebody's planning.
There's a welding. There's a metal works business there. Now we used to play football in front of his house. There was a mini pitch, so that's where basically all the kids,
area boys to play football.
That's where we would meet to play football. It's
What have they used it to do now?
Metalworks.
In front of the house?
Yes.
Carpenter in the house?
Yes.
Metalworks in front?
Yes. Then
Owned by the same person?
different people, so they rent it. Now, directly opposite that is there's another pitch, another park that's next to Mr. Sakifio's house. Now,
What are they doing there now?
they're selling cars.
Oh Lord.
They're selling cars on both sides of the road.
Oh God.
Residential.
So you have cars, you have cabbage, you have carpenter, you have church, you have what else?
You see, and somebody will say, well,
Is there a clinic around?
No.
No clinic.
The opening up of the Gadgesburg Avenue, that's from Exhibition Roundabout all the way down to join Kamara 205, is perhaps responsible for saying that we can sell cars, but it used to be purely that's state housing. The entire enclave is state housing. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question. Are you saying that when this man's house was being converted to a church, or when the carpentry shop wanted to set up,
Or the metalworks or the car sales,
they should have gone to see the assembly?
Yeah, I am saying that when they went to see the assembly, because they have permits, when they went to see the assembly, did the assembly sit down and say, this is purely residential, kids play in this area? Because that's where I learned to ride a bike. That's where we could step out of the house and run on the road. There's no way my daughter is running on that road. There are cars going 100 kilometers per hour on that road.
And yet,
in a residential area, this is proper town road system I'm talking about. So I am saying, did the municipality ever consider and say, and this is not just for Ablikuma West, this is for all the municipalities out there, and say, why do you need, what are the advantages of bringing a carport to an area like this? Because it means that you are bringing more traffic to the area, because people will be testing cars and doing whatever.
But let me ask you, do you think the assembly thinks like that? Or any assembly in Ghana?
But that is how they are supposed to think, isn't it?
Most assemblies will basically say somebody wants to expand or convert his frontage to sell a car. He wants to do business, he will bring money. So why should we prevent them from doing that?
Because you cannot.
The right question, where would they start from? Because 900 other people are selling cars in front of their houses. Now the other people are using the frontage of their house for carpentry works or whatever. So if the Ablikuma West Assembly says we won't allow you to do the carport there, can they apply that law fairly?
Yes.
Because every assembly allows people to do anything they want.
So
how are you going to start?
Were we not buying cars back then?
Well, the demand for cars has gone up. Or the demand for car business.
So they have brought it closer to us.
So now you can buy from your house.
from I hope I get an
See what I'm saying? I'm not saying that the assembly is right too. But what I'm saying is that even if an assembly, so let's assume you are the new MCE for Dan Soman, and you say you want to do the right thing. There have been so many wrong things done for such a long period that unless there's a national effort to say all assemblies should stop this thing, you can't do it.
Why not?
Why not? You won't have the support. What I'm saying is that
can I ask a question?
In an environment where wrong is normalized, trying to do right puts you at risk.
That fair enough. That makes sense. Question for me is, what was the purpose of setting up our MMDCs in the first place, or our MMDAs in the first place? The whole idea was to drop down or devolve our governance, right?
On paper.
No, but
in reality, of course.
The plan should have been in reality. If it was on paper, then we shot ourselves in the foot.
All right.
I think that we cannot make excuses for the failure, the colossal failure by our municipal and district assemblies. City authorities have failed.
Is it the city authorities who have failed, or their supervisors, the ministries?
I'm coming. The city authorities have failed. Yes, they are supervised by the ministries. We hear often about political interference, etc. Just this year, there was a release of 25 million cedis to thousands of assembly men and women.
Correct.
Have we seen any transformation in the way our cities are run? Have we seen anything that feels like this is a coordinated institution, or these are coordinated institutions? The conversation you guys were having about poor events, poor management of events, people not finding places to park their cars. I drove through Legon this morning, an event that supposedly happened last night. I had to experience long minutes of traffic because of an event. But we continue to pay taxes through property rates and permits to these local assemblies. But they appear not to be in the position, whether it is incapacity, whether it is unwillingness, they should be able to tell the people of Ghana that.
I want to hazard a guess that they don't have the capacity.
Then we need to reconsider the whether or not we should have these assemblies. Then the ministries will do everything.
If you go to a typical assembly, I don't think the kind of thing we expect them to do, they have what it takes to do it.
But Bernard, I agree with you.
I don't think they do.
Yes.
I agree with you to a large extent, because I recall.
And I'm not making excuses for them.
The things he's expecting, even the basics, they are not doing it.
No, I'm really talking about the resistance in the sense that I recall, what's his face? Bray.
George Bray.
Tried removing the brothel.
Hey! Ha! It could be war.
The thing that happened there.
Who were the people?
It was on shoulder.
No, let me ask. Who were the people protesting?
Did he bring like a task force?
Yes. So basically, I think at the time he was calm down.
Who were the people protesting?
Let him explain.
The general public.
You are interested? He's interested in the other part.
You see,
I want to know whether it is the patrons or the.
He did this collabo. I recall he did this collabo with the police, where they were picking up the sex workers, and then they went to the places that the brothel are, and they tried to, they met fierce resistance
from the local people.
Yes, and sometimes
from the patrons,
and sometimes
and their supporters.
I personally think the police also did not help, because they would arrest the sex workers, take them to the station and do their own thing, and then let them go. You see, and I'm just even getting information that, for instance, the description I gave of the carport and what, the carport is the only business there that has a permit. Everybody else doesn't have a permit, but they've been there for years.
So that's
and they are well established.
So let's look at it this way. So let's take it one by one. So let's assume you are the MCA for Ablekuma West, Francis Kakra and Bernard Avle. You've read your law. You know what you are supposed to do, and you say all non-permitted kiosks are given 6 months to regularize.
You're fine.
You start. 1 or 2 come and regularize. Majority of them will not mind you. Then you say we are forming a task force with the police to close down. By the time you do 3,
you are tired.
I don't know which political party you belong to, who will have put you there. You receive a call from the regional chairman. Kakra, me no fear. Me no fear. O party. Then they say, why? I say, I mean, they enforce the law. Many law. Charlie, but many have a vote on how small can you fear. You get it? So what I'm trying to say is that unless, for me in Ghana now, unless the president or the minister decides that he's going to do something universal, to say, look, we have too much chaos in town and we want to rid our cities of this type of thing, and therefore we are giving all the assemblies 1 week to implement something. I am sitting here as a journalist. I'll tell you something, Kakra. As a journalist, sometimes I get calls from duty bearers that I should go and send my reporters to do a story on something so that they can do their work. Imagine, I'm sitting in my house on Saturday with my children. Someone say, Charlie, I'm calling from this assembly. What's the issue? Some people are breaking the law, and we are the point in the assembly, and we are saying, go and do the story. When you do the story and you play for 1 week, we will come and.
I understand. It's a failure of institutions.
It's a societal failure.
I disagree
that a society
with
that a duty bearer needs a media man to point out
agenda.
My sister, I'm saying this is a true story. That is a go. They say go and do the story, and I've got this call from many bodies who I won't mention the levels. Some are ministry levels. Some are. They'll say, go and do a story on this issue.
So we can act.
So we, the ones who have been given the power by law to act, can act.
I don't dispute that there's a total failure of institutions and leadership. Okay, where I don't agree with you is the expectation that such a decision will come from top down. Maybe the president to make. You see, I'm really sick and tired of our political class and how we have been hoodwinked. Ghanaians have been hoodwinked to allow the partisanship across board, to the point that if somebody is filling a gutter with concrete and building a kiosk on it, the person has the audacity and the impunity to say that if you pull that down, I'm going to vote against you. I think we've allowed too much of indiscipline in the name of livelihood.
Yes.
And we are going to hit rock bottom at some point as a country.
Correct.
And we need to, and that's why I don't think it's up to the president. It's up to us, the people, the tax-paying people. Sky, who is waiting for the trickle down economy. We need to rise up at some point and demand better governance. We need to say that either we are going to do a boycott or we're going to stop paying all these taxes and levies.
But do we actually
I'm coming, Bernard. All these no, there are some people who are paying diligently. Taxes and levies, some people are paying diligently, but they still drive through the same shoddy roads. They still drive through a city where there are no street lights and traffic lights. We have to sit down with the governors, the people running this country, and ask, if we are going to live like this, then we might as well not pay for it.
Let me ask you, do you actually think people who live around this guy care about this thing? So he is complaining that in this one enclave there's no space for children to play. The carpentry shop, welding shop, church, clubs are all basically a manifestation of poor planning. Are you actually sure the ordinary Ghanaian is concerned about that?
I told you, was it 2 weeks ago, that we are inundated by indiscipline, and it's because of our silence.
But the people who are doing this are also Ghanaians. That's what I'm trying to say is that, you see, I'm trying to point out that when you have a society that needs a media man to highlight a problem before an assembly can act on it, it's beyond an institutional failure. It's a social problem.
Yes.
So what we are dealing with is not even MCs who are not effective.
Exactly.
We are dealing with a society that has agreed to be dysfunctional. So that everybody who wants to do things right is actually considered an aberration. So you sound odd to a lot of people. You may sound right to people who are driving their cars going to work, who live in well-planned spaces. We've allowed 40 years. I think what has happened is that we manifested the 92 Constitution in this wrong form. What it did was that because it created a certain political class that could essentially be unaccountable, it created a society that was detached. So if people are doing things on the basis of partisanship and party type of attitude, their ability to actually enforce law and order gets reduced. But so that leadership failure at the top in the past 30 years, I think, if you compare Ghana probably in the late 80s, when I was in maybe class 6 and so, I think it was much better in terms of order. So the lawlessness has been, I don't want to say it's democracy. The way we've done our governance, the way we live around since the 92 Constitution came into place,
it's democracy,
and the way the politics is played out. You understand? It has, because in those days there was a bit more seriousness with certain things. Right now, let me give you an example. They appoint people to MCA positions on the basis of the work they did for the party. Now, the skill set for organizing people to win an election is not the same skill set you need to run a city. That's just the truth. Now, under the PNDC, again, I'm not romanticizing military dictatorship. If you want somebody to run Medina, you can find somebody, right, and say, okay, this guy, we think because of his training at local government and because of his military background or whatever, we believe that he is in a position to do the work. He doesn't have an election in 6 months to be collecting bribes to do re-election. So there's a bit more seriousness. And when the chairman of the revolution speaks, at least there's a bit of fear. Right now, we've created a system where, number one, a lot of people who even have dubious characters run and hide for electoral political office. So you notice a lot of times when they are doing vetting, there's always petitions, because a lot of people who have done fraud and things want to legitimize their life by becoming political leaders. Then the political system too, there's no transparency, so we don't even know where they get the money to do their campaign. So he collects money from a contractor, collects money from some carpenter. You understand? Then the president also comes in. He doesn't know everybody. So now the Great Accra General Chairman will say, appoint Godfred as so who is Godfred? Maybe Godfred is somebody he knows who has been, so the whole system is not correct. How are you going to now say, as the MC for Adansoman, reclaim green spaces without, you can't, because everybody is against you.
Bernard.
So you just pretend.
So let me not limit it to the municipal and district assemblies. That's why I said we need to have a frank conversation with our governors, the people who run this country. I believe in all of this, the big question is who suffers the most? Is the people. is the citizens. It's not the political class who gets ex gratia every now and then. It's the tax-paying Ghanaian who sits in traffic, drives on terrible roads, drives on roads that don't have lights, they don't have street lights, that the traffic lights don't work. It's the ordinary everyday Ghanaian. It's all of us who are paying taxes, whose incomes are deducted. Taxes are deducted from our incomes. We are the ones suffering this. And it is up to us to demand that change. Why I don't think that a top-down approach will work is because the people at the top, the people running this country, either they don't know what is happening, either they are too comfortable to care, or either they are all colluded in all of this.
My proposal is that if in the current 2025 Ghana, if you want to rally change around anything sustainably, you need some sort of presidential support for it. Because when I look at the body language of our MCEs and ministers, is that they are always looking over their shoulder for what the president approves, and it's been that way for a long time.
Yeah,
it's become, I'm trying to just use the social, like if you look at the body language of the MCEs and the ministers, if the president declares something, they will all jump on it.
Yes, and citizens have allowed that. We have allowed the people who run this country to think that they work for the person who appointed them and not the people. And the people have to show their power.
But the people are part of the dysfunction. The people are the one causing the mess.
The fact that the people are part of the dysfunction doesn't mean that the solution cannot come from the people. The fact that we are sitting here having this conversation doesn't mean that, well, all of us are part of the problem.
But we are outnumbered.
Last week,
we are outnumbered by the people who are happy with the chaos.
Of course. But hold on.
I'm happy for you to
hold
talk.
on.
I'm listening.
Last week, Godfred was talking about the chaos that the Pragiers and the what have you caused on the road. Go to that thread and go and read the insults directed at him. People asking, excuse me to say, the dumbest questions about whether or not the road belongs to him. The road is for all of us. Insulting him, using intemperate language. That's what you're saying. Oh yes, I went to read it.
So we're tired.
No, but he still said what he had to say. Imagine if, and that's why I qualified it by the tax-paying Ghanaians. The tax-paying Ghanaians need to rise up and demand better management of this.
Those who are some of them also pay tax too. So imagine if you are the MC.
And I don't want to
imagine if you are the MC. I'm coming. Imagine if you are the MC listening to Godfred's thread, and you see Godfred say, "Remove Priagas from the road," and 6 people are saying Godfred should go to hell, and you are the MC. What will you do?
We shouldn't make the decision, and that's why we are where we are. The decision of valuing numbers over quality. That is why we are where we are.
But Kakra.
No, I agree with you.
The person paying the tax should have more voice.
Okay.
But Kakra, last one. Let's talk about this tax issue well. In Ghana, most of the taxes we pay are indirectly collected. So you pay tax when you buy stuff. I'm coming.
But that's not what I'm referring to.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, let's also admit that generally we are not properly taxed.
Hey.
By that I mean,
people complain about double taxation.
If you take where you live in Adenta and you compare it to living in another Western country, the things you would pay for directly to the state, to your local government, here you pay taxes more in terms of when you make an expenditure or when you use a service. So if you look at our tax service, I'm making a point. A lot of people are not really invested in contributing to their local. For example, we don't have a proper property tax collection.
But that
Godfred was telling you that
failure of the tax collector themselves.
He was even saying that in all those businesses he described in his area, the only one that is properly vested is the carport. So it's possible the carpenter doesn't really pay tax. It's possible that the welding shop doesn't really pay tax. It's possible that the check there doesn't really pay much tax. So the only person who pays tax in that whole enclave may be the carport guy.
But that comes back to the problem with governance. Because how do we collect taxes in this country? We keep increasing and taking from the same brackets of people.
Yes.
Instead of widening the brackets, instead of capturing all those guys, they've been there for how many years?
They are not paying.
The tax department at the assembly is looking on.
They don't even collect.
They are running the service.
Because the government pays them from the center because of political patronage.
So those who are paying taxes should rise up.
Yeah, but you are outnumbered.
And that's why I'm saying that it is wrong to view it as, and that is why we are where we are.
Yes.
Given the majority voice to the majority in numbers. It must be quality
which
and
goes
not
back
numbers.
to the democracy question. Because democracy is about what the majority
And that's
wants.
why you struggle to put the blame on the issues we are confronting with democracy.
You see, I told you last week that, you see, when you have universal adult suffrage in a society where there are two things that must happen for universal adult suffrage to bring the best outcome. There must be a general level of education and enlightenment, and people must not be hungry. Okay, so when you have a large mass of people who are not well educated and you have a lot of hungry people, democracy can be weaponized to cause a lot of underdevelopment. So if you look at history, a lot of the countries that give the vote, and I'm not talking sentiment, I'm talking fact.
Yeah.
They gave the vote after a certain basic level of education had been attained. And they also give the vote after a certain basic level of economic prosperity.
You mean we should do that thing after free
If somebody
they use the education to block.
Yes, so if somebody is hungry, they don't have any food to eat, and they are destitute, and they are not educated, you can exploit them using democracy and the vote. Okay, so what I'm trying to say to you is that what you've just perfectly described is the challenge of the type of system we run in the time we are in. That doesn't mean we should jettison the system. Now, your point is that lest those of us who are enlightened, who believe we know best, who are invested in the system, do more. But there's a problem of exhaustion. Because you sitting here, it even took us a lot to convince you to come and do this.
But I don't go there.
It's not easy.
No.
I'm coming. It's not easy to be an activist citizen who pays your taxes, does a lot of hard work trying to educate your family, and still face a lot of backlash. So a lot of the guys, we did this job for 20 years. A lot of the guys who started this fight, this struggle, apart from Kwesi Pratt, everybody has run away.
But
everybody, apart from Kwesi Pratt, who is still in the struggle.
Bernard,
I want to.
Oh,
the people have run away. They are tired. Every 10 years, the struggle has changed because it's exhausting.
Or some get fed.
Some become philosophers. Some leave the country. Some enter the politics
itself. Yeah.
Only Kwesi Pratt is on earth saying monster.
Can I just say something about the point you made about weaponizing democracy?
Yeah,
which I agree. And last week, the conversation we had about democracy, you see, Sky made a very fundamental point, and I agreed with that point totally. That first of all, who is forcing us to do democracy? That's one. Who is forcing us to apply that as a system of governance here? And whose model are we applying? He said that what we have to do is to craft what works for us. So if we are looking at how many more people are not educated, how there's a lot of indiscipline, then we have to balance all the elements of democracy, not just take what somebody says and apply it. And that's why
I like your second question more than your first question. Your second question was who is forcing us to apply the way we do? I submit that we don't understand democracy. That's how I submit. I submit that democracy, of course, I said two things. The vote is part of democracy, and it's better applied when you
the illusory vote of choosing between two political parties.
No, what I'm saying is that the vote generally, not even for Ghana, the vote is better exercised when you have a citizenry which is better educated and also are not desperate for food. But the way we've practiced democracy suggests that we don't even understand its purpose. Because I feel like democracy was set up to protect the weak. Because what tends to happen is that generally, powerful people always influence. So like in the past, those who have material means of, like they have more money and special interest, they will control the democracy and it will only do things in their interest. So people said expand the vote so that all the poor and the vulnerable will also be protected. That's generally what it is. But what tends to happen generally is that when anything starts, it is always corrupted. So what we practice is a corrupted version of democracy. Yeah. So I'm not even sure we should be putting democracy on that challenge. Well, our governance. So I think the problem in Ghana is that we don't govern properly. Okay, and because we govern poorly, it has made democracy look such a terrible system of running. Sweden does democracy; they do it very well.
But they do it to fix their system.
That's my point. So democracy itself is not a bad thing. If you practice democracy without certain conditions being met, or with a certain mindset. Okay, I think our mindset and the way we live is undermining governance. So we have bad governance, which then makes democracy look very bad. You can also have bad military dictatorship, because if the quality, so the issue is the quality of of governance is poor. And that is what is making you frustrated this morning.
You see, if you read Plato, right, his views on democracy, you would understand why we are where we are. Because Plato sort of likened the governance of a city-state or a state to a ship, a vessel that is sailing to whichever destination. So let's say, for instance, that we have a ship that is sailing from Accra to Sierra Leone, right? Freetown in Sierra Leone.
Yeah.
Who would you rather put in charge of that ship? Let's say that you are the owner of the ship.
Somebody who can who can drive the ship or who can control it. Right?
So okay, so somebody who can control it. What does that mean?
He's trained.
So the person is trained. The person understands how to properly navigate
and the implications of failure.
Exactly. You understand? So Plato's main argument when it comes to how to actually run a state is that philosophers, people who have been properly trained,
of course, prepared,
should be put in charge of the ship of state, because democracy, in his words, empowers the many who are ignorant. So you have plenty of passengers on the ship, right? They don't know anything about how a ship should be navigated, but they want to have a voice as to how you should navigate that ship.
So they choose the ship. So they can choose
choose anybody who is popular
to ride the ship.
And so those are the people they call the demagogues, or demagogy, as my uncle would normally say. So the demagogues are the people who just want to be Mr. Nice Guy.
Yeah.
They want to satisfy all the interests of
the people choose this person at their own.
Exactly, because the person is popular, the person is pandering to their needs, their interests, and all of that. So at the end of the day, there is a shipwreck. The ship doesn't get to its destination because we have empowered the many who are ignorant, and they have put someone in charge who doesn't know jack about how to pilot a ship. And then
it's a nice analogy. The only problem though is that in addition to the piloting the ship, he must also know how to pilot the ship, but also satisfy the masses who are also shouting every day. So even he may be a good ship navigator, but he's spending half of the time trying to quell unrest by the hungry mob who voted him.
So the question.
So it's a complicated. No, I like the analogy. A beautiful analogy. What I'm trying to say is that governing in a society where certain basics are not there is very, very tough, right? So if you want Ghana to do better, we need to invest better in education. I've gone to a stage where I'm asking myself, what's the most important thing to do for each situation? I think right now, if you push me, for instance, what is the differentiator between countries? Quality of the education, right? If you get better education for the masses for like the next 30 years, and everybody has a certain basic level of understanding of their history, of what the issues are, leaders may stand a better chance of steering the ship properly.
Yeah, but
leaders may stand a better, because people will not be arguing. So when Godfred goes on Facebook to say, why are Pragyas on the road? People will not be insulting, because at that point, most people would have had a certain basic understanding that this is how order is supposed to be managed after, because then you have proven knowledge on certain things. Here we argue over many basics. You see, one of the reasons why Ghana is frustrating is that there are some things that are given in certain societies. In Ghana, we make it an argument, even within our media. You get it? There are so many things that everybody agrees on in society that this. So, for example, in certain countries, when somebody is caught with the faintest hint of corruption, he resigns. Everybody knows that you can't stay in your position again. Here, we'll argue, oh, is it the first person? Is MPP?
Too many opinions.
What I'm saying is that it's because we are all. The deeper reason is that collectively we are all not there yet. Because in some societies, they don't argue over certain things because they know that, Charlie, once this has happened, we all know that you leave the office. Okay? Or this expensive scandal with UK MPs. Once it is exposed, resignation the next week. Here, we don't do that because we have.
You say because we are not there yet. So those other societies are there.
You see, some societies have. How do I even put it? They've all collectively come to a certain agreement on certain basic issues. Just, I don't know whether it's a mores or a norm or a value. But it's like there are certain things that when you go to certain countries, it's they know. Here, people don't resign because we'll make it an argument. Because we are still not sure whether it's because we envy the guy that we are saying should resign.
Why do they know?
It's because they've been taken through a process of nation building, citizenship, education over a period of time that has made it that the minimum knowledge of an average citizen is that when you do this, you resign. Here, they'll say,
but also because there's punishment. for wrongdoing.
There's also punishment because of that thing I've said. All those things are consequences of that agreement of knowledge. Here we haven't agreed on what is even right or wrong generally. So somebody goes to steal money, they say if you chase him because you are from NDC or you are from MPP or even the.
I think we know.
Do you know why?
We know, and the fact that we will be able to get away with it by raising all these unnecessary opinions about is he guilty or is not guilty. That's what we do in Ghana. We know very well.
Are you
what
telling
is
me that
good
the
and
average
bad.
citizen? So let's go back to the original case study. Godfrey's point is that Dansoman exhibition area used to be well planned. They used to have places where kids will grow, play football. Urban sprawl, coupled with poor local governance, has created this urban mess where you have about 5 or 6 different things that don't need to exist there. Okay, now, you say it's the governance challenge and the citizens must let the governors know they are governing poorly. I also argue that
Tax-paying citizens.
Fair
I
enough.
agree
But
that
I'm saying
citizens
that
are part of the
I'm
problem.
saying that thing that happened in the past 30 years in Godfrey's area is not just because of bad leaders. It's because the person doing the welding has a sense of entitlement. The person doing the carpentry work there, the person who has the brothel there.
Entitlement, and they can get away with it.
They've been I'm coming on. There's obviously an implementation issue or enforcement, but there's also a mindset issue. He actually believes that he's entitled to do what he's supposed to do.
Yeah, Bernard, when you allow somebody to do the wrong thing for the longest of time, he will stop believing that it is wrong because you have allowed him.
And that allowing is education. I'm saying that you see, education is not just school. So back to my point, I'm saying that citizen who goes to put up that brothel next to Godfrey's house, he believes that he has a right to do it. And he's been educated to do it because for 30 years he's not been punished for doing it. So he's been educated to behave in that crazy way
by your inertia,
by media, by politics.
He knows it is wrong.
Are you sure that the carpenter, the welder, he mentioned about 5 bodies, so carpenter, welder, church, brothel, and what else? Are you telling me that those people, when you take a mic to them and ask them that carpenter shop in internet wrong, you say it's wrong?
They know it is wrong, but they will threaten the MC with elections, or the the member of parliament with elections. Are we saying that when people fill gutters with concrete, they don't know that when it rains that will clog the system?
Maybe we know. Maybe we need to distinguish between.
The fact that we can get away with it, it's the impunity. It's a culture of impunity. Deep down we know, but because of impunity, and you said something. You see, I believe that the failure to transform this country, and even the failure to provide the basics, is why our governors allow the indiscipline that we see, because their livelihood, everything is a matter of livelihood.
So those guys who sell on the streets, you're saying that they know that patently they are wrong.
Yes,
but they do it deliberately.
I'll take you back to that video.
They may say they have no choice.
No, Bernard, I'll take you back to that video on social media where a journalist was asking people who were crossing the road directly just under a bridge if they didn't know what they were doing was wrong, and it was even a risk to their own lives. They all knew. Even those who tried to argue some phony kind of they all
So you're saying
knew.
that if the leaders insist and push for the right to be done, they will face less pushback, because deep down all those breaking the law know they are breaking the law.
They will face initial pushback, yes, but when they entertain that pushback, what they are going to do is allow the perpetuation of the culture of indiscipline.
So leaders so our duty bearers should
push back,
apply the law without fear or favor.
Yes, without thinking about the next 4 years, which is what they reduced our destiny to.
I will take your point. I will take your point in saying that you are right in saying that if for example the mayor of Accra says we are not selling on the street again, he announces it 3 or 4 times and starts enforcing it, they may insult him for a week or 2. But if they start seeing the order that the lack of selling on the streets brings, they may comply.
The absence of impunity, and that is why when you travel, the same people who litter in this country, when they travel, can they litter?
No.
They dare not, because laws work over there.
So I think you have won this one. Go for it. End it for me.
No, I think you've convinced me. I support what she says. And the thing is that we must reach a point of reckoning. Mm-hmm. And the problem that I see for us is the reckoning has delayed. A lot of the countries around us, a lot of other countries have reached that point. So that time I was telling you about Patrice Talon in Benin waking up one day and saying, look, we cannot continue to have Cotonou look the way it is. So all the people who run the different quarters of Cotonou, I am giving you 6 months. Remove all the kiosks, remove all the containers, make it livable. After 6 months, if you can't do it, I will sack you.
Straight.
However they did it, they managed to do it.
Done.
If you go to other countries around us, you are the one who went to Lomé, was admiring. Those who go to other places, and I don't want to go to the West, I'm just looking around us. It's not like they are that much better off, but most of them have reached the point of reckoning where commonplace they say some of these things that we are doing, or this dystopic life that we are living, we need to reverse it. We have not come to that point yet, and I think it is that conversation that we need to push towards, where somebody comes and says, look, Accra, enough is enough. Or Kumasi, enough is enough. We've seen some regions try and do this. I don't know whether I missed this, but somebody said to me that time that the day I discussed the Pragia and I was getting insulted, that either in Cape Coast or in one of the regions,
don't mind them,
the MCE has banned Pragias. You will not find Pragias there.
So it's possible.
So if it has been done, and people can help me, I don't know whether it's Cape Coast or somewhere, but they basically put out a bylaw that says we don't want to see this on our route here.
That's all.
It's not there. So what then is the difficulty?
That's the question.
Okay, what then is the difficulty? So I just think that we need to push towards that reckoning where, and maybe it is conversations like ours and others like us that will push authorities to realize that enough is enough with allowing just everything to go. A point must come where we say that, look, the kind of chaos that happens around the octagon is not the way sensible human beings live. The things we see at Medina Zongo Junction is not how sensible human beings live. So whether you like it or not, no matter how convenient you feel it might be, we will change it for you.
That would take some time, especially when in 2025 a Parliament of the Republic of Ghana believes that the way to go to empower the youth to move people around the country is Okada. It will take some time.